Welcome back to my channel. I'm your host, Hezekiah Judah, and do me a favor, hit that like and subscribe button. Today we're going to start on part 4 for the struggle series, The Narrow Gate. As I always do for this podcast, I put the scriptures at the beginning. You can pause and do as you please, but somewhere throughout this podcast, I am going to read the scriptures anyway, and I added scriptures at the end as well. So let's start off with Luke chapter 14, verse 28. But don't begin until you count the cost. For who would begin construction of a building without first calculating the cost to see if there is enough money to finish it? If you don't consider the cost, you won't understand why God set you on the path that you are traveling, and you will definitely stop your car, park, get out, and settle where you have arrived in your journey. I always explain people that ask me, where do they start? Now, I know that some churches and I don't know if they do this in other religions as well, but we do have the Bible and everything. But some churches actually provide you like this kit, like where do you start? I always suggest that people, when you feel that you have this overwhelming like feeling, and you before you even decide that you're going to get baptized or anything, I always tell you to give yourself 3 months of a grace period and have a deep conversation with God, with Jesus, on what is his will and plan for your life. You want to do this because you really want to go back and forth. I did this at the beginning of my journey where I was returning back, and I was having a prayer with God. And then I also, because he was calling me towards marriage. Now, marriage is you want to say it's like twofold, because it's like you're going to be married to your assignment, and you're going to be married. If you're called to marriage, you'll have like that spouse as well. Or you could just be called, he's calling you to marry your assignment, be married to the Trinity. It can look like that as well. So when you like, God is calling me to marriage, sometimes it's just not just to another human being. So this is why I tell people to go and give yourself that grace period. You want to have this hard conversation between you, God, and Jesus, and you want to write stuff down. It's very important that you do this at the beginning of your journey, because you're going to need stuff as well throughout your journey to continue on this narrow path to finding your life. If you don't take the time out to give yourself a grace period or show yourself grace and mercy, you're just going to just stumble backwards. And then you'll take the risk at giving up. Now, Psalms 2, verse 12, submit to God's royal son, or he will become angry, and you will be destroyed in the midst of all your activities, for his anger flares up in an instant. But what joy for all who take refuge in him. David was onto something when he wrote Psalms 2. It not only finishes strong by telling you to submit to Jesus, but it lets you know that you could never get over on God or Jesus. They do things for a reason. I say this because a lot of people believe that they are getting over on God's children whenever God places one of them in their way to help or assist them with something that they need, that they cannot do for themselves. This is where God and Jesus step in to lift the weight. I remember having this dream where I was dropped off at the school. There were 2 teachers outside, and one of them were pregnant. She was concerned about her baby as she was rubbing her belly. As I approached to enter the gate, the pregnant woman stopped me. "Do you have an appointment?" she asks. "Yes, I do." "With who?" "The teacher." "How can I be sure that you are here to see him?" I smiled as I asked if I could touch her belly. She allowed me. "If I wasn't here to see him, then how would I know that your baby girl is going to be just fine?" Her eyes lit up as she replied, "Go straight back and enter through the second door. He will meet you at the top of the stairs." I followed her instructions and met the teacher at the top of the stairs. He sees me approaching and tells me to follow him up the rest of the steps to the next floor. These steps were winding steps like the ones where you have to climb 2 or 3 or 4 sets of them to get to the next floor. As I follow him, he goes ahead without looking back to make sure that I am keeping up with him. He just keeps going until he gets to the third floor door. He takes a seat and waits for me. As I get to the last set of stairs, I notice that I can't fit. "How will I be able to reach you? I don't seem to fit," I asked. "You have too many things with you. You have to take everything off and give it to me in order to make the climb. I will only have on my underwear and socks once I am done. Will you be okay with that?" "That's fine," he replies as he takes my backpack first and then the rest of my clothing as I remove them piece by piece. Once I am done, he gives me instructions on how to climb the narrow steps, which at the top it will require me to trust him to catch me as I leap from the top step over to where he stood. I get to the top and pray to God that the teacher is strong enough to catch me. I weigh 180 pounds. Then I jump and he catches me and sits me on my feet. He hands me my things and waits for me to get dressed. I put everything on. "I am glad that you prayed before you jumped," he says to me before touching the handle of the door. I could only smile at him because I was a little embarrassed. I knew that he would not have allowed me to fall or fail since I was following his instructions. He stuck the key in the door, turned the handle, and opened the door and said, "Welcome to your next level." Matthew chapter 7, verses 13 and 14. This is out of the Amplified verse. "Enter through the narrow gate, for wide is the gate and broad and easy to travel is the path that leads the way to destruction and internal loss. And there are many who enter through it. But small is the gate, and narrow and difficult to travel is the path that leads the way to everlasting life. And there are few who find it." To get through the narrow gate, you need the master key. The key is Jesus. This is why he teaches you how to follow him. It is very important that you follow whatever he teaches you and instructs you to do. Keep a notebook on standby because at any given moment, he can give you instructions and directions for the next step. The level you want to go depends on you. Warning: whatever you do, do not make the king feel as though he had wasted his time with you. This can and will show up in a dream or a vision as a loved one being frustrated, upset, or mad at you. Or they are simply flushing something nasty down a drain or a toilet. It can also symbolize that he feels like he is wasting his time with you. Take a step back and fix this ASAP. You are in trouble and are at risk of stepping outside of your protection. Now, this is going to be for my single people. Do not get stuck on the promise of a husband or a wife. In due time, they will be provided when it is necessary. Now, you can choose for yourself, but then you will be walking away from wherever Jesus was leading you to. This is why I will stress to you that the narrow gate will be the hardest work that you ever do in your waking life. It requires a lot from you. It will take every part of you to get the work done. The great part is that Jesus is walking with you. Jesus teaches you how to live life on God's terms. One of many lessons that Paul learned from Jesus is how to live under the rules of this world while following the commandments and laws given by God. Learn how to surrender. This is very important in order to keep going and moving forward on your journey. Otherwise, you will start to roam, you'll feel stuck, and your clarity will start to become blurry. You will start to hoard and store up stuff that will never be necessary for the road ahead. You can't take this stuff with you. Or, or is things that should be given to someone else, or it was just never meant for you from the beginning, and God was just giving it to you so that you can hold on to it until He tells you to release it to the person that it is for. So whenever God gives you something, please be aware that He is watching what you do with that as well. He is like I always tell people, when it comes down to, even when you wanted to like tithe, you want to practice tithing, but how do you get involved with practicing tithing? Is you start by your time. You do it with your life, and you practice what you want to get out of your journey. So you would trade off a bad habit, like a worldly habit that you have, a nasty habit, and you develop a godly habit, a good habit. And that you have to continue doing that so that you don't be tempted to go backwards or to quit or to give up. When this is how you this is why I was like, the notebook is it's very necessary for your journey, because you're not going to be able to keep going without keeping this stuff written down, and hold on to whenever God has opened the door for you or made a way for you, because further down your line, when you come up to those seasons where you're going to be tested, you're going to remember God made a way that, He created a way for me out of no way. And now I can continue to trust, and you're building trust. So the very thing after you go through that grace period, the reason why I tell you to do the grace period is because you're going to hit that season where God is, after He talking to you and stuff, and you're writing down your plans and stuff, you're going to go into the season of trusting Him. You have a trusting season, and then He's going to show you how He's providing everything as well. That is going to be key for what's coming next. And then you go into your wilderness season, where you are going to take those tools that Jesus have taught you and you learned and you've written down, and you're going to use that in developing godly habits by putting that to practice. So if you are a person that you don't see yourself, stop cursing, using bad language and stuff, you're gonna learn. You got to practice that. It just doesn't happen overnight. I have had people tell me that, hey, I love that you don't curse and stuff, but I would tell them, they're like, I'm gonna do that, and I'm like, yes, but it took me 3 years. And I always stress that to people, like, it took me 3 years. I just didn't do this overnight. Now, so anything that you want to do, you can ask God, Jesus, to help you with that, so that you don't go backwards. Now, understand that the journey is not just for you, but it's mainly for God's will and glory. Be grateful and appreciate that He has partnered with you to do this great work. Having an honest relationship with Jesus and God helps with the work that you will be and are called to do. It will help you to understand why you are taking the route that you are taking. This will help you to avoid delays caused by you being distracted or disobedient that can and will cause you to miss who you are called to help and assist, as well as missing your windows and door. Luke chapter 18 verse 1 from the NLT version. One day Jesus told His disciples a story to show that they should always pray and never give up. Prayer is necessary. It's not just something to do because you want something or need something. It keeps you connected so you don't get confused, lost, or disconnected. It will help you avoid and fight the feeling of doubt, which can lead to you giving up and quitting. There are people waiting for you. The people you are going to help are not just in church, but are in the world. God and Jesus can use them as well. No one is above God or King Jesus. Even if they choose to serve the enemy, this is why you need to be honest with God and Jesus. It's going to come a time where you are going to feel overwhelmed and as if your needs are being ignored or not met. You need to voice this and tell them what you would like. Always allow them time to rearrange some things and to give you an answer. It will no, it is okay to ask why when they say no to your request. Like you might feel as though they're taking too long and you want to take the time out to ask that question. Don't let something sit on your heart and you don't discuss this with them because it can turn into like a nasty infection and you will start to develop anger, and you need to watch your anger. You cannot move forward when you're angry, and you will miss out on what is necessary for you and your growth. Whatever it is necessary for you. So anytime you get angry. Now I remember this guy. I was outside getting gas at a 7-Eleven, and he was like, I'm just hungry. I want something to eat. Um, if you can you buy me a sandwich and maybe a chips and uh, a soda. So I went in and I knew the guy behind the counter. He's like, did that guy ask you to buy him sandwich and stuff? And I said, yes. He said, don't buy it for him because the lady before you had already purchased him two sandwiches and chips and soda. He just needs to come inside and get it. So I go outside and I tell the guy, I say, he said that the woman already purchased it for you. He just exploded with anger, and he's like, I don't understand how that you people allow this man to tell you how to spend your money. It's your money. I said, no, you're not. You're calm down, relax. You're angry. You're not understanding that the lady before me had already purchased everything. You only went and got the one sandwich. You need to go back in to get the other sandwich, the chips, and the soda. And he was just so full of anger that he missed the whole what he wanted was already paid for. It was already given to him. But he was so angry that he just missed his whole blessing. So you like watch your anger while you're going through this. You're going to get mad. You're going to get upset. And it would be foolish to think that you could never get upset with God and Jesus. Like they're doing something. They're not telling you what they're doing every step of the way. And God, there's time that God and Jesus, they would go quiet for a while. And especially during some of your storms, you even see that where Jesus was just sitting on the beach and, just on the other side is watching them in the storm. And in the Bible, he was going to walk past them, okay? But he's always there. He's giving you so much uh, like tools and everything and this stuff that's not going to be in the Bible that he's going to give you to do. And he's giving you this stuff to do, and he's teaching you stuff, and this for a season that's coming up. Now he's going to sit back and watch and see what you're going to do and if you're going to use those tools, or if you just going to just, I don't know, sit back and not on your hands and wait for him to step down in your situation. You gotta be able to, just think like you're on a battlefield, and each level you get closer to the front line. You need those tools. They're necessary for you. If you are watching somebody else's journey, you're going to feel overwhelmed because that is not for you. You were not created for that. So if you don't focus on learn how to navigate between, okay, if you're in church, your job, and then your household, it's also very important to understand that if God is pulling you away from your everything that you know is for a reason as well. You need to develop. You cannot develop and on scene in front of everybody on a platform. Everybody will be watching you go up and down, and there's stuff that we shouldn't see or know about you. Only God and Jesus should know about you in your weakest moments and stuff like that. And then you're going to be able to discuss. God will be able to tell you, yes, you can talk about this, you can't talk about that, don't do that. Like, follow those instructions and rules. They are very important and is necessary for you. I also tell people not to, please read your Bible, please do it. Find those scriptures that's going to be for you. Those typical scriptures, they are good. I think they are very good for the beginning because it's going to help you to practice saying positive things back to yourself. But if you know you want to get married, and you want to be married to a physical husband and wife, another human being, then you can also, repeat that to yourself. Whereas the enemy is telling you that nobody's been married in your family, or it never pans out. You're gonna get divorced. You can repeat healthy stuff like, I am a wife. I'm never gonna get divorced. Like, that's healthy stuff that you can repeat to yourself. But that's what I think the motivated scriptures teaches you, how to repeat positive stuff to yourself, so that you will learn over time how to say healthy stuff and realize that and actually notice when you having this negative thought, so that you can capture it and then speak something positive over your life. I used to say, I was quick to say something negative to guys. So I had to practice, and I did this out while I was working or whenever I come across like guys now. But it took me a while to learn how to speak positivity into their lives, so that I know they, even the worst guy, I still wouldn't, speak negativity into his life. I do remember telling this guy, I was like, you swear a lot. And he's like, well, I say, but do you realize, that every time you swear, you are lying? And and he was like, what? And he got a little mad, and he said, is that noticeable? And I was like, it's noticeable to me, but it's not noticeable to other women. But I said, there's no need for you to lie, because you're normally honest about your intentions when it comes to a woman. Just stay the course. There's no need to lie, you know. And I only told him that because he couldn't understand why this other woman would not, get involved with him. And I would say that's why. And most women, you know, they need that you to be honest and secure, to provide some type of security. And nobody wants to be with somebody that's just always constantly lying over lies. It gets annoying and it gets frustrating. This is why in your journey, in your relationship with God, you need to develop that honesty characteristic, because you can't lie to God and Jesus. They know you, and it's just gonna stop you from growing. It's gonna be pointless too at that. So it's no need to, get rid of that nasty habit as soon as possible. Is better. Now, Psalms 46, verse 1. God is our refuge and strength, always ready to help in times of trouble. God shows himself strong when we are in our weakest, darkest moments. You are on this path. It is the most beautiful thing whenever God and Jesus just, show up, and they actually teach you lessons and stuff, and they're talking to you and stuff. It's very beautiful. It's a beautiful journey. Do not allow somebody else to, you know, hinder your journey or tell you what you can and can't do on your journey. Only God and Jesus can tell you what you can and can't do. I do, what I also don't understand too, that I have come across, is when I tell my story and somebody's like, yo, you trust God that much. And I hear it a lot, and I'm like, I don't I don't understand that line, that statement. I just don't, because I thought that was the whole process of us, you know, having our journeys and making this route. And I have come across more than enough people tell me this, and I was like, Jesus trusts God that much. So when people are praying to be more like Jesus, that's one of the things, he fully trusted God. Even, to get up on that cross, he went. It's hard, but I think everybody does the bare minimum because it looks good, it sounds good, and it's easy. But Jesus never told you that it was gonna be easy. You know, it's without him you can't even navigate this journey. So that alone should tell you how hard it is. You need the king to even go on this journey to finding your life, to getting into that, what God has, everything that God has for you. And they're like, live life on the terms of God and all that he has for you. That requires to make these sacrifices. You're going to make sacrifices. You're going to have to walk away from things, people, your job, money. But if you get in this involved and thinking that, God is going to just flow your life with a whole bunch of money, then you're mistaken, because he's going to provide everything that you need in each season that you go through. So it's going to be seasons where it looks like no money is coming in. And this is where you need to remind yourself that Jesus tell you not to store up things earthly bound, because you need to store up stuff in heaven. And when God is telling you that you are rich in life, you are worthy in life, it's because you are. He's never going to speak something over you that, like, he's not lying to you. So, but if you feel like he lied to you or something, you can be honest about that too. That's why I always tell you to have that be honest as you go throughout this journey. And I'm going to continue to stress that, because it's nothing hard. It's nothing real easy about this narrow gate journey. It's a tough thing. Every season it looks different. And then the reason why I also tell you this too, like, be careful with the looking out the door and the windows, or looking in the window of somebody else's house, or looking in, the door at somebody else's house and be like, oh, they got this and that, because it's a trap. The enemy is gonna trap you into stopping, and then you're not gonna see your journey as a beautiful journey. You're gonna see your journey as a prison. You're gonna be like, oh my God, I'm in prison. I'm not. But God has these boundaries for you because he knows you, and you want to stay within those boundaries because that is your protection. Remember the in Isaiah 5, it teaches you that the grave, it is waiting for you. Okay, you step outside that boundary, and what it's gonna do is it's gonna be excited. Yes, you left that protection boundary, so at any given day you can die. Sometimes dying young is for, it can be a God reason for that person's protection. But then other times, dying young is because the grave had got excited, you left your protection, and God's grace and mercy didn't step in. Or because he kept warning you, and like I was watching this movie, and in the movie, uh it was actually about, Malcolm X, and you know they was he was saying how, he felt as though people was, following him, and the very thing that he said was going to happen happened. Those were, and I'm looking at this video, I'm like, that is God warning him, like, yo, this is going to happen if you keep going down this road. God, you, even in the wicked, do not laugh when God is punishing somebody else, because it's nothing funny about it. You can be punished as well. You're not obsolete to being punished, okay? So don't laugh when God is punishing somebody else. He's trying to, he loves them enough to try to give them that warning, like, please stop. And people don't notice it. God give out funeral songs just as well. It's written in the Bible. So that's a famous song. We all know it. And, people believe it was just for that time frame where, segregation was real big. But if you listen to the words as he sings the song, um, and he mentioned how he's afraid to die, that is God giving him a warning in the way that he would die. And it's a hit song. And I'm like, I don't think I'm going to be willing to sing this song anymore, because it was his warning song. It was a warning that turned into a song that led into a funeral song for himself. And I just was just like, wow, like, this is, God would give you a warning when you, whether it's in a song, a dream, a vision, he's warning you that if you don't stop and you don't turn around, if you don't repent, or you don't turn from going in that direction, it's going to lead to death. And with some people, it shows up as paranoia. When people are outside of, God's will, whatever, they're far away from God, they don't know nothing, they know the bare minimum. It shows up as paranoia. They start to get paranoid. And they're like, oh, this is happening, this is happening. And it's like, yes, but it's also God trying to warn them that, the way you're living is only going to lead to death. And people wind up, dying from that. Because they don't know, they don't take it serious. And you come across people like that too. But I think most of the sad things for me is that a lot of Christians are doing the bare minimum, just the bare minimum. So God and Jesus want you to have fun and enjoy what you are doing. They will never set you up to be miserable. Galatians 6, verse 9. So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessings if we don't give up. How do we not give up? Hebrews chapter 12, verse 2 to 3. We do this by keeping our eyes on Jesus, the champion who initiates and perfects our faith. Because of the joy awaiting him, he endured the cross, disregarding its shame. Now he is seated in the place of honor beside God's throne. Think of all the hostility he endured from sinful people, then you won't become weary and give up. You don't want to give up because you are someone window or door, just as someone is a window or door for you. You have people traveling all over the world because the people that are close to the people that are in need are not listening, or have completely stopped in their journey, or just stalled out for some reason. Nothing worse than God telling you that no one is coming. So now he has to place you in a holding place while he pulls a Moses situation with the person that he had assigned to the assignment, or of helping or assisting you. And You have been called. Understand that you have been called for a reason. Please pick up. Someone is in need of you. Even with those ugly thoughts, keep going and living, because there is someone waiting for you. Please don't quit. You are important. The enemy knows this. This is why he is lying to you. This is why he will try to stop you at every chance that he can get. Every corner that he can get, he will do that. It's very important, because I am one of those people that was in need of, help and assistance. And it is very sad to know that you just sitting there waiting and no one is willing to answer the call. And I see this as I sit in church, and I see that bucket come passing through, and they tell them people, all the loose cash that's in there, if you need it, you can take it out. But that bucket is empty and it's dry. Everybody's so concerned about the building, right? But what about the book of Acts? Read the book of Acts and see how the church is supposed to be. Then you will stop your selfishness. You'll get out of your selfish way. You got pastors out here hoarding money. I didn't know you needed $50 million to live. You don't need $50 million to live. If you really a pastor of this church and you care about these people welfare and stuff, you shouldn't be riding around in a Rolls Royce while somebody in that's a member is facing eviction. Do not cut them a check. Go sit and talk and help them. We are a body of, you got lawyers, you got police officers, doctors, and everybody sitting in these churches, and nobody wants to do their job. You do your job when you clock in and get paid. So I didn't know that God wasn't going to pay you, because last time I checked, God is, governing all this. So he will pay you for doing the work. So what is everybody fear about this? I tell you what your biggest fear is. It's the narrow gate. You saying that you want to be like Jesus, you want to work towards that, but then you don't want to face the fact that you want to just only do the bare minimum. But then you want to get ahead in life, and you're willing to do any and everything to get ahead in life. Take that same energy for your journey and work hard. God, I didn't know heaven ran out of resources. And the day heaven runs out of resources is the day we stop breathing. Look at it like that. So I say that because I'm so sick of, people just, hoarding stuff. And then everybody's looking like, oh, what's going on with the world and this and that. Selfishness. Everybody started just thinking about themselves. So when you sitting up there, you don't need to always provide in just money. A gift card goes a long way, to like a grocery store, or even Walmart or Amazon. It goes a long way. A mom that's having a baby and stuff, that diapers wiped, stuff like that goes a long way. And if you are called to be a pastor, please take it serious. And please develop early on ways that you will help your members and be able to live a healthy, balanced life. I went on this, I don't know why I did this, but I wanted to see, I don't even know how I got to this link, but I clicked on this link, and you do have some pastors that's getting paid $10,000 just to go speak at another church. And it's like, why did you need that much money to preach? Like, why do they have to pay you up front, first off? Because this is what you were called to do. I didn't know that. That's why I tell people, I'm like, listen, you watch these videos and stuff, please hit the like and subscribe button. Allow Google to pay them, okay? If you want to, sow into that ministry, do that as well. But do not think highly and selfish, of yourself, that you know, God got it, whatever. But if God is placing you on your heart too, this is why I know too for a fact too that to give something, give it, because if you don't give it, you won't receive what God is trying to give to you. So do not allow fear to stop you whenever God is telling you to hand something over. It is for them. That's why He gave it to you. He gave it to you so that you can give it to them. Okay? So please be advised about that too. You learn all this on your journey. If you are truly being honest and you really want to be successful in your journey, you will come across that. So I do have, that's a part of my key points as well. Some of these key points, other key points I have is that you must trust God. You must trust God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit to do this. They know everything. You don't. I don't. I can tell you what I experienced, what I went through. That's that. But your journey, understand that your journey is uniquely designed for you and what you are going to be doing. Everything that you develop, the tools and the strategies are for you, and they will be you used and utilized down and along your journey. Keep reminding yourself that only a few people find and make it through the narrow gate that leads to everlasting life. If you satisfied with that big house, you're going to stop at that big house. That's just that. If you are working hard to get through the narrow gate, then you won't have to worry about getting paid. Heaven got gold streets, okay? It's just not running out. They just don't run out of resources. It's not an earthly thing. They don't run out. Figure out why you are doing this early so that you can keep going in your journey. You are going to need something heavenly bound that no one can offer you to keep you going in your journey. Otherwise, you will stop. If you only in this because you want to be, with 800 credit score, house and car, when you get the 800 credit score, house and car, you're going to stop. You're just going to park your car. Look at it as you're driving. That's why I keep saying you're going to park your car. Because that's exactly what it is. It shows up like that too. Whatever it is. You want to, when you're traveling, whenever you get to that spot, you will stop. You'll park that car and that's it. You just stop. And it's levels to this. So you can, I tell you that where they tell you about the dream in the Bible, about the gifts, it's very real. I had that dream where, I walked in and it was like boxes and boxes and boxes of gifts. And, Jesus was standing there and He was smiling. And I was like, wow, this is beautiful, So it's gifts and gifts of stuff that you are going to have that's tailored for you. So if you stop, you just never going to get those gifts. And that's that. So that's why I always tell you to figure out just be honest, okay? Figure it out early so that you don't struggle down the line. Now, Ecclesiastes on 7, verse 17. On the other hand, don't be too wicked either. Don't be fooled. Why die before your time? Do not die before you get to see all that God has for you. Now may the Lord lead your hearts into a full understanding and expression of the love of God and the patient endurance that comes from Christ. May heaven armies be with you all wherever you may go. God bless, and feel free to leave your stories in your comment section. And I'll catch y'all in the next video. Love y'all. God bless.